Happening today, a music executive and anti-gang activist is expected to appear in court to face allegations he ran a, quote, mafia-style empire.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for tapping in with your boy. I really do appreciate it. Man, I got a banger for you guys today. As you can tell from the title and thumbnail, we're going to be talking about Big U. For those of you who reside under a rock, aren't aware, or simply don't give a fuck, Big U has recently been indicted by the federales on a laundry list of charges and is now in federal custody after turning himself in. As of April 2025, Eugene Big U Henley Jr. faces a 43-count federal indictment encompassing a range of serious charges that include racketeering, extortion, illegal gambling, financial fraud, wire fraud, human trafficking, and transporting individuals to prostitution. I'm going to be reading through some of the charges listed on the indictment so that we can get a better picture of what the hell is going on here. My goal with this video is to present you with the latest facts and the latest updates in this case, paint a picture of who Big U really is, and of course, offer my expert opinion. In other words, I'm going to be talking shit.
Good morning. That music executive is actually one of 19 defendants charged in what federal agents called Operation Drawdown. Take a look at the video. The big announcement was made yesterday about those 19 defendants, and they include Eugene Big U Henley. He's behind bars today, expected in federal court later, where he'll be facing charges of running what the U.S. Department of Justice calls a mafia-like criminal enterprise tied to a local gang.
You heard the lady. Operation Drawdown is in full swing. Indictments have been made, and Big U is facing charges of running a mafia-like criminal enterprise tied to a local gang. I wanted to share my take on the situation because, well, Big U is a big bully, and we bully big bullies over here, bully the bully. And allegedly, Big U is the biggest bully the entertainment industry has ever seen, particularly in the hip-hop community. That was a bit of a tongue twister there. Tied. My tongue is tied. Okay.
Henley surrendered to federal agents yesterday, just hours after authorities laid out a wide-ranging criminal indictment against those 19 defendants, who prosecutors say worked with a well-known and decades-old L.A. gang to commit crimes like murder, fraud, and extortion. Henley is also accused of fraudulently obtaining money from the Gang Reduction and Youth Development Program supervised by the L.A. Mayor's office. We're talking about over $2.3 million in a 5-year period. Authorities are also accusing Henley of murdering a young Las Vegas rapper, Rayshawn Williams, back in 2021. The criminal complaint further claims that Henley defrauded famous athletes, including Basketball Hall of Famer and former Laker Shaq O'Neal, persuading them to donate money to charity. That money he then allegedly pocketed himself, according to the federal agents.
While Big U's current location is unknown, it's obvious that he's in federal custody, and so far, he's been denied bail. Big U is being charged with 1 count of conspiracy to violate the Racketeer, Influence, and Corrupt Organizations Act, the RICO Act, 2 counts of conspiracy to interfere with commerce by robbery and extortion, the Hobbs Act, 1 count of Hobbs Act robbery, 9 counts of attempted Hobbs Act extortion, 5 counts of Hobbs Act extortion, 1 count of transportation of an individual in interstate commerce with intent that the individual engage in prostitution, the Mann Act, 15 counts of wire fraud, 5 counts of embezzlement, conversion, and intentional misplacement of funds from an organization receiving federal funds, 1 count of bank fraud, 1 count of tax evasion, and 2 counts of willful failure to file a tax return. The criminal complaint alleges Big U fraudulently obtained money from the Gang Reduction and Development Unit over a 5-year period. This itemized list contains well over $200,000 in fraudulent wire transfers prosecutors believe they can prove. The name Big U is synonymous with Los Angeles and its gang culture. Big U has been a significant figure in gang culture for decades, gaining influence within the Rolling 60s chapter of the Los Angeles Crips since the 1980s. He has also been involved in the entertainment industry, forming a record label and collaborating with various music artists. He's managed Mike Epps, Ving Rhames, corrupt, and at one point had even signed Nipsey Hussle to his record label. On top of that, he has a multitude of small documentaries and films. Big U, born Eugene Henley Jr., had a rough childhood and upbringing that led him into the gang life, which ultimately landed him a 13-year prison sentence. Upon his release from prison, Big U formed a nonprofit organization based in his old stomping grounds named Developing Options. Developing Options provided the much-needed resources to the community and offered some programs for the youth to keep them out of trouble. On the surface, Big U was seen as a pillar in his community. Think about it, ex-gang leader doing positive shit, passing out turkeys and tablets and helping the unfortunate kids with school supplies and football equipment. Who wouldn't back that? You wouldn't, because you're smart. One of the biggest allegations against Big U is that he defrauded many athletes and celebrities. Basically, he was extorting the shit out of these people. All right, allow me to explain. Los Angeles is a large city that is run by gangs, or at least that's the illusion. Two of the more noticeable gangs are the Bloods and Crips, with Big U being the alleged leader of the Road 60s Crips. Los Angeles and other cities in California attract athletes and celebrities because many events are held in these cities. For example, the Crypto.com Arena, which is the Lakers' home stadium, is located in downtown Los Angeles. As you can imagine, when the Lakers play, there would be hundreds, if not thousands, of celebrities in attendance, which also means that a lot of these rich folks will be downtown and in other surrounding areas, which are run by these gangs. The reality of the matter is that if you don't have personal security, you're kind of at risk of being robbed, extorted, or even worse. These gangs can and will be mixed in with the rich and famous. If you're watching and wondering, how the hell did Big U manage to extract cash and valuables from these prominent figures? I'll tell you. Extortion, or as I like to call it, bullying, and as Big U has officially coined it, checking in. What is checking in, you ask? Look, people, I'm just a stupid internet guy that hates bully, and I make videos about him. I don't know shit. Fortunately, we get to hear exactly what it means directly from the horse's mouth.
When I say that, I mean exactly what I said.
Yeah.
There ain't no sugarcoating, there ain't no nothing in. It ain't not one human being that's not gonna check in. Let me give you on a bigger scale. The United States of America and all these countries have what is called airspace.
Yeah.
If you invade their airspace with a plane, they consider that an act of war. If you want to come in their airspace, you're gonna check in. You can choose not to, and it's gonna be a problem. If dudes come and you move it in a certain way, if you choose not to check in, suffer the consequences. You feel like you got something that's bigger than what is there. And because I do it, it's foreign to me to hear people speak how I'm not gonna check in, but then that's the ignorant dude, because that's the dude who wants the internet fame. Any real dude that's ever really been in LA, he checked in.
When you hop off the plane, check in. Penthouse suite, check in. When your feet hit the street, check in. Cause if not, shit get hot, you better check it in.
You know, I've probably been on Crenshaw twice.
That's it?
2 times.
Wow.
2 times.
How was that, man?
Listen, man, you know when you're not from a place, like one thing I always do is
It was with Dildo, though.
No, but before, it's like one thing I don't do is disrespect the rules.
Gangs have figured out a way to offer these celebrities a false sense of security if they check in with them. For example, Shaquille O'Neal has been a victim of the check-in system, which he is explaining in the previous clip, but kind of brushing over it a little bit. I don't know what the hell Shaq wanted to be on Crenshaw for, but that's a whole nother story. But anyway, Shaq was approached and robbed twice. This was done intentionally to gain compliance from Shaq to set up the future extortion. You see what I'm saying? So next, Big U or someone with rank in the gang would approach Shaq again and offer him his things back for cash. And I imagine that conversation went something like this.
Hey, Big Hud, I heard the little homies got out of line and got you for your roly-poly. on the dead homies. They ain't know who you was, cuz, and they being dealt with right now accordingly as we speak. Now I had to put my life on the line for this regular, plain Jane ass watch of yours. And right now, you owe me, cuz. So what it's gonna be? On the dead homies. You owe me, cuz.
Probably feeling both intimidated and obligated, the victim will usually comply, especially to get back valuable or sentimental items. This meeting usually came with some advice and a stern warning.
We advise you to check in with us if you want to be protected by us on the dead homies. We warn you that if you don't check in with us, you won't be protected by us on the dead homies.
But when people come to LA, they have to get to understand how the culture works. And a lot of times, like with this podcast, people don't understand that checking in ain't about somebody pressing you or taking something from you. It's more about people knowing who to link up with, who to move around with, and for people to really understand who the marks are of the world. You know what I mean? Who the money marks is. Those are the people who get to the city before the talent get there and go have the relationships and know how to move a man around and know how to do things.
I think you have to be from that to understand that.
Yeah, no, and that's really true. Because I tell people all the time that in LA, you may be Florida, you may be from Florida, but you don't want to wear a Florida Mariners hat in certain parts of LA.
And I didn't know that, but once I found that out, like,
right.
You know, the P hat, like, you know, you can't be. It'll work in Beverly Hills, but once you
get it,
once you cross La Cienega and La Brea and all that, like, you gotta switch that up. So you have to be from that to understand that.
Big U means big business, and checking in is a huge part of his business. When Adrian Bonner visited LA and failed to check in with Big U Enterprise and supposedly cheated John Wall and a few NBA players out of millions of dollars in the dice game, Big U sent his goons out to pay the former champ a visit. It is believed that they recovered that money and repaid for their services.
They told me that you and John Wall was playing dice one time, and you caught that nigga for like 3 M's. They told me you beat John Wall in dice one time for millions. Is that fact or fiction? Because this is a reliable source that told me this too.
Listen,
this is a real nigga that told me this.
Listen, it's truth to that, but it was dice and cards.
Oh, so it was a whole day of just a day of like
it was dice and cards, and the crazy thing is John Wall is my God. That's like my God.
So all right, hold on.
I ain't really trying to go into that, but but that was just some friendly gambling. It gets serious, but you got to think these two niggas that got the money that gamble. So it can be $250,000 a game, $1 million a game. Like, you know what I mean?
And
it get there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's all friendly.
Right.
It's all friendly. It's just sometimes it get like that.
Either the story is true or NBA players really hate Adrian Bonner. This is an official document corroborating what victims and witnesses told authorities. To Big U's credit, he's had some positive interactions with celebrities. For instance, when Chris Brown checked in, or maybe he didn't check in. Maybe that's what led to this awkward-ass clip I'm about to show you. But anyway, the two would appear in the most uncomfortable-looking makeshift press release in history, where Big U makes us feel guilty for balling out in the clubs and not donating to his cause. He goes on to acknowledge the recent donation Chris Brown made to his organization and announce another donation in the making.
You can go to the club and spend $80,000 on bottles, and you can spend $10,000 to go in the club, but you haven't done nothing to help the neighborhood. You know, this young man just gave out 500 pair of tennis shoes, and he about to give out another 500 pair of tennis shoes.
So look, guys, as you can see, checking in can be a good thing. The late Rich Homie Quan will share his experience of when he checked in with Big U as a positive one as well.
First time I ever went to LA, I went out there to shoot a party video with her. But they knew what time I landed. They knew what hotel I was at before I landed. Listen, bro, the first time I go out there, so Fly with TIG, Fly was like, man, we got to go pull up on Big U. So we go to Crenshaw High School, but he got the football kids out there. So my mind fucked up. It's my first time going out there. He was like, yeah, man, we knew what time you landed. I was like, oh, yeah, this shit different. He was like, yeah, you in the hotel room, then once you caught your bag, and so drive. I was like, oh, yeah, this shit different. So at the same time, I said that to say that checking in should be real. I ain't paid no money. All he wanted me to do was just take pictures with the kids, the football kids. There be little shit like that. Like niggas be thinking check in, oh, you got to pay. They just want you to show the community like you're still able to be reached. You know what I'm saying? So after that, I went out there that time. I ain't never had no problems from that first time. You know what I mean? No problems. Like even when I go out, I still got my dudes. I check in, hey bro, I'm here, bro. If I need anything, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Woo. But that shit protocol, man. Even when I come out here, I got my dudes I call. It's everywhere. You know what I mean? I done been in a lot of these spots more than one time, bro. I've been doing this shit for 10 years. So a lot of these spots I done been to 3 or 4 times. So I've accumulated friends, like niggas I fuck with, like I feel like you my brother. You know what I'm saying? So they gonna make something straight. You know what I mean? So man, we can't never let our guard down, bro. This shit the worst job in the. This shit worse than being the president right now. This shit worse than being the president.
More dangerous.
Yeah, more dangerous, but...
Nah, this is the president, bro. That shit gotta be dangerous, bro.
The president dangerous, but...
Who tries the president?
Nobody.
Exactly.
But that's what I'm saying.
We would never know.
He also got people around.
We would never know.
It's a different level.
Yeah, but okay, of course they're gonna get threats or whatnot, but the president gonna know it's coming. We don't know that as a rap. You don't know. You may go, nigga, so you want a picture now, man. Home got his phone out. He just want to punch in your face to catch a moment.
Yeah.
Thought you want to take a picture, man. Now you done got your stupid ass shot.
Rest in peace to PNB Rock.
Nah, for real, man. Rest in peace to PNB Rock.
Rest in peace, PNB.
Nah, rest in peace, PNB, bro.
Rest in peace, PNB. PNB, another example of not checking in, is the robbing and murder of rapper PNB Rock at a Waffle House in Los Angeles, where a father and son duo connected to Big U have been charged with the murder.
What occurred was that the victim, along with a female witness, were in this area eating at a restaurant when they were approached by at least one suspect who brandished a firearm and demanded property from the victim.
You don't move around with security, you don't want to have to do that
shit
every time you go out.
100%.
Feel me? Like, that should be ass, bro.
People are targets out here, and especially...
Niggas tried me out here a couple times, you feel me? Like, I ain't gonna lie. That shit don't never work.
Luce Cannon would go on what seemed like a loose-lipped social media campaign claiming him and Big U's involvement, going as far as putting them both on the scene of the crime.
Roscoe's. Yeah, so I felt it was like super messed up because at the end of the day, it was me and Big Useless in there when it happened. So when it happened, I wish I could have just told him like, bro, just give up the jury and we get it back to you later. But it just happened so fast and he wasn't cooperating. And that's when they took it off of him by force. You get what I'm saying?
What do you say to a person who won't give up their jury when something like that's happening?
No, give it up and then check in with the real people. So we're going to find a jury and we're going to get it because we know all the pawn shops, we know all the people that's going to melt it down and everything like that. So as soon as it comes on their table, we got it. Okay, get it, go in that back room, make that phone call, put them on the phone. That's how it works.
It is absolutely mind-blowing. Hey, can we get like that, the mind-blowing effect going on? Can we do that? No? My editors suck. Anyway, it is freaking mind-blowing to witness these so-called gangsters hand their lives over to the feds in the name of clout. I mean, this shit is crazy. Big U is no different. And like, he loves the attention. He would make several podcast appearances, making his stance on checking in crystal clear. But one podcast in particular caught my attention. But he says the youngsters need to have an experience before they realize they should have checked in. He then mentions Quando Rondo and his failure to do so, but then says he did after the shit hit the fan.
The youngsters get out and then they have to have an experience before they realize I should have checked in. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Or I should have called, or I should have been moving a certain way. And so they get out and they might be under your banner, but then they not respecting the banner. They ain't calling you. They got your number, they know who you is, but they feel like they bigger than the program. You know, and you got a lot of dudes, like when I was here last time, that claim my neighborhood that's in this music shit, but they don't really fuck with us until it's a problem. Then they call it. Like Quando Rondo. I just showed Envy. Like, you can't call me now. You can't call me when the fire hot. You didn't with me before that.
If you are unaware, there was a murder for hire plot on the young rapper's life where he fortunately walked away uninjured, but tragically, his cousin Lil Pop was murdered during the failed hit. Currently, rapper Lil Durk and several members of his O-Block crew are in federal custody connected to the murder of Lil Pop, but it is widely believed that the Rolling 60s had a hand in it. If that is proven to be true, that makes this next clip even more cringy to watch.
Every city I go to, I check in with somebody, bro. And that's what it's about. Because people think that I'm a bully and I cancel money, I get money from niggas. I ain't never asked you for not one dime. Not one dime. Now, where our problem came in, and this is what he can vouch for, the same Instagram I was hitting them up on, because I was putting a tour together. I was putting a 6x10 tour together. And I had Baby, Gunna, I wanted Baby, Gunna, you, and all y'all. I was hitting you up on that same Instagram. Then he turned around and hit me on the same Instagram. That's what upset me. And I'm like, little nigga, I've been hitting you up on the same line, now you hit me. And that's where our problem, that's where I was like, and I'm like, wait a minute, man. So that's where it was. But like I said, I'm still supposed to be a bigger nigga though.
No, I'm glad you said something about that, because this is something that everybody need to hear. Like you just said, you check in with somebody everywhere you go.
Right.
Look, not you, but the young niggas. Young niggas got the word check in so messed up right now.
Right.
Like, when a nigga say check in, the nigga automatic, not you on the young people got that word just messed up right
That's
now.
what y'all crazy is.
When somebody hit check in, they automatically think like
you check like you paying a nigga a check.
You feel me? Or like, oh, he's saying I gotta pull up here. But that's why I'm glad you said that, because I never really had a problem with like checking. That like when, like one time I've been in my hometown when the rapper came down there, I'm like, I've been down here, he ain't even came to mess with me, you feel me? That's where I'm from. I just wanted to show him certain stuff. You feel me? So just for me living through that experience, I know checking and it ain't nothing wrong with that. Checking in is the new word for a relationship.
That's what it is.
You feel me?
I mean, they do it all over the world. You can't go nowhere in the world you don't check in. You gonna check in if you come in American airspace. They gonna want to know, like, what? Okay, you here? You gonna check in when you go to Russia, you a delegate, anywhere you go. But like you're right, hip hop has lost it. The game has lost it because you might check in with me. I'm gonna tell you what clubs to go to and what clubs not to go to. I'm gonna tell you where the bad bitches is, and I'm gonna tell you where the weed is. I'm gonna tell you who got the good weed, how to get the sack. You got dudes come out all the time, buy a sack, and getting robbed. They ain't dealing with the right people. If I go to Chicago, if any of my artists is going different places, I tell them call this dude. Because he treated me right, he gonna treat y'all right. That's really what it is.
Like, hopefully this interview open everybody's eyes on the check-in part. Like, that's a nigga not on nothing negative.
Now that you guys know what it means to check in, how about I show you what it looks like?
Same as out here, nigga know these streets, nigga. Nigga can't go nowhere, niggas ain't finna just be nigga out here, nigga shopping and posting pictures and all that. That's how niggas getting
the money wise and all that extra shit.
Thinking they got these restaurants, thinking they low, you in Beverly Hills and all that. Bitch, that shit 10 minutes from the hood, nigga.
You're right.
You out your mind, nigga, you think you safe over here.
Giving locations
I don't
and some
do
more
none
shit.
of that shit when I go out of town, nigga. I don't post no hotels, none of that, nigga.
So basically, you'll need to get in contact with Luce Cannon like days before you arrive and ask for permission to visit LA and any surrounding areas. He'll then convey your request to Big U, who in return will make a final decision. If and when you are approved to visit, you'll provide all the necessary paperwork for your traveling and housing. Once you arrive, you will be provided with a location to meet up with Luce Cannon, where he will instruct you to follow the game. You will then be held at an undescribed location, possibly at gunpoint, where they purposely film you to embarrass you. After all off-camera transactions are made, Luce Cannon gives the okay for his boss to pull up and collect. After that, you are free to do what should be free to do. All right. See, this is why I have a problem with Big U. I don't like bullies, especially the ones who use intimidation. Big U would never approach a celebrity by himself and demand anything. They would laugh at this dude. Instead, he uses his henchmen to approach you and scare you with these tactics. Now, you are more likely to comply with 50 gangsters who hand you a phone with Big U on the other end, telling you all your personal information and making threats to your safety. Anyone should be able to move freely anywhere without the threat of violence. With that being said, everyone who checks in is not a victim. If you're claiming a gang, please understand its politics. Gang members may be required to check in with its leaders for various reasons. Most gangs have community outreach programs, and they do give back to the community in various ways. If you're in a gang and you make it big in the entertainment industry, you're still in the gang. You just got money now. Your gang would expect you to do shit with that money in your own community. And to be honest, they shouldn't have to ask you. Take Snoop Dogg, for example. He's an OG Crip who made a name for himself and is doing pretty well. If he wasn't checking in and giving back to his community, Big U would have a problem with that, rightfully so. And even though I feel sorry for artists like Chris Brown, Soulja Boy, or any of these young entertainers who jumped off the porch and joined the gang, I have no sympathy for them because it was a choice. So, follow the rules of the gang your dumb ass chose to join and live with it. However, it angers me when Big U targets celebrities who aren't affiliated with that shit and demand they check in. That's being a bully. My advice is that if you're not in the gang, don't check in with the gang. What the hell is wrong with you people? Why would you want to be where the gangs dominate? Handle your business in safe places and you should be fine. If you're a celebrity, you should have security to protect you when you go in shaky areas, or just don't go in shaky areas in the first place. When Schoolboy Q made an appearance on Drink Champs and was asked if he believed LA to be the most dangerous place for rappers, this was his response, and I wholeheartedly agree with him.
Been rumors that LA is probably one of the most dangerous places for rappers. Do you believe that's true?
Yeah, because I mean, everybody be checking in. That's your favorite thing to do. Check in with somebody that's gonna rob your stupid ass.
Right.
Yo, you think that guy, the guy that you don't know, motherfucker, in California got your back? The guy that got beef with other hoods and all this, you checking in to that dude? Right. Bro, just go to the hotel, get you something to eat, go back to the hotel.
Do your business.
Go have some fun.
Right.
Where shit is fun, why do you want to go over there?
Right.
For what?
Luce Cannon is a Rolling 60s Crip who was directly under Big U's wing. He was his enforcer turned worst enemy. I have a theory on why Luce Cannon is on a self-snitching social media campaign with Wack 100 that I'll share towards the end of the video, so stick around to hear me out. But if you thought Luce Lip Cannon was done implementing him and his former boss in crimes that could land him in jail for life, you're dead wrong. He was on a roll with this foolishness.
When I did that to Meek Mills and Rick Ross.
What'd you do to them?
So,
the club, when you sweated them in the club?
Yeah.
Dude, and Meek and Rick have no idea that Draw sent you at them.
No, yeah, they sent that because I called Ross. I'm like, Ross,
Boy, this
drop
shit
off,
getting crazy.
Drop off to 50,000 and we're gonna let Meek live on Crib. So Ross dropped off to 50,000, and so me and the homies, we go back. He stopped answering the phone. So basically, it's like, cause he'll be like he'll manipulate things. Like we'll go and do something, and as soon as we do it to show up to the house like 10 minutes later when we trying to counting everything, right? And we be like, how do they get that? Oh, well, we're gonna just give them like $40,000 back and stuff like that. But cause it's actually putting us in paperwork, right? And like doing like real police shit. I seen it get like 20 guns, and when he got 20 guns, he's selling them to the homies. But I'm like, why are you writing down the serial numbers? So it's like he was doing like that, and I didn't catch on. So it was like I'm waking up now. You get what I'm saying? Because I'm his right hand man. You get what I'm saying? So when it came down to like dirt and stuff like that, I'm gonna get it.
One thing about the federales is that their conviction rates are insane. They don't charge you with shit they can't prove. There are no murder charges listed on the indictment, but prosecutors believe they can move forward with at least one count of murder based on information obtained through wiretaps and surveillance footage. Among the most serious accusations against Big U is his alleged involvement in the 2021 murder of an aspiring rapper identified as RW in court documents. After the musician had failed to meet contractual obligations and recorded the diss song about Henley, prosecutors claimed that Henley and his associate, Sylvester Robinson, confronted RW in Las Vegas, where he was recording at a producer's studio. They then allegedly shot him and disposed of his body in the Nevada desert. Now, according to the federal complaint, Henley later ordered studio employees to delete surveillance footage of the confrontation and threatened witnesses to ensure their silence. His criminal enterprise allegedly relied on intimidation, violence, and social media to maintain control over its operations. In regards to this cover-up, the feds alleged that on January 25th, 2021, Big U contacted the producer to inform him that the Nevada homicide detectives would be interviewing the producer about the death of victim RW. On January 26, 2021, Big U contacted the producer and demanded that the producer and his employees leave the studio premises. On January 26, 2021, at Big U's direction, Big U Enterprise Associate, DS, and others known and unknown to the grand jury removed portions of the security system from the studio, including security video and data from the times victim RW and Big U and Robinson were present at the studio prior to the victim's murder. The document will go on to allege that on January 27, 2021, at approximately 10:03 p.m., KF asked the R&B owner if there were cameras on the property. On January 27, 2021, KF directed the owner of the account that he used to book victim RW's R&B not to speak with law enforcement about victim RW's murder. On February 3rd, 2021, KF falsely told law enforcement that he did not know the address of the studio and did not have a phone number for or any way to contact Big U. On December 31st, 2022, on an intercepted call, Big U explained his motivation for committing murders on behalf of the Big U Enterprise, stating, "What you guys see on the internet, y'all keep hearing other people who don't have nothing to talk about but sell." Continuing from the last line from the previous slide, let me explain something to you. If I would have had a problem with any man, color, creed, king, or kind, the issue would have been resolved and he wouldn't be here or I wouldn't be here. It ain't no kid, nothing. And then damn near nobody who been in this mother longer than me can stand against me and be who I am. If I had a problem with any man, and this wouldn't be so funny to me, I'm still who they say I am. Wow. Apparently, Big U ain't that big on diss songs. Nipsey Hussle also made a diss song targeting Big U after an altercation they had and also ended up killed. On March 31st, 2019, outside his Marathon clothing store in South Los Angeles, 33-year-old Nipsey Hussle was shot and killed by fellow Roller 60s Crip member Eric Ronald Holder Jr. after the two had a brief conversation. Well, it wasn't a conversation. Nipsey called the man a snitch. Okay, he told him he was a snitch. Approximately 10 minutes later, Holder returned with the firearm and shot and killed Hussle. He'd been kicking him in the head before fleeing the scene. Now, Big U isn't being charged with this murder, but that would not stop Luce Cannon from claiming his involvement. Gotta love this guy.
You pretty much saying he called you, told you Nip got. You called Nip in a panic. He answered the phone.
Mm-hmm.
When you hear his voice, you like, well, Nip ain't dead, but you don't warn him what he said. 30 minutes later, you get a call after the fact, Nip dead.
Yeah. Big U, you keep posting pictures. Like, bro, nobody is believing that. That's after Nipsey death. Like, tell the world, like, you made the phone call. I'm not saying you had anything to do with it, right? Because I doubt it. But you knew what was going to happen. And you gave the okay for it to happen. You didn't stop it.
Luce Lip said Big U didn't do it, but he knew about it. I'm inclined to believe everything this dude says at this point. I have a theory about how this huge indictment started, developed, and how it will likely play out in court. Now, some of you may disagree with me, and that's fine, but here's what I think happened and why. Big U is responsible for his own actions and the predicament he's in due to those actions. However, the actions of others also play a big role in Big U's downfall. Luce Cannon has continuously connected them both to crimes, but has recently gone public with his claims. But why is that? Why is this clown going public, even featuring on podcasts with Wack 100 discussing crimes when Wack 100 is considered an op? Why did Luce Cannon distance himself from his former boss and form an alliance with Wack 100? In my expert opinion, I believe the new besties were working together with the feds directly and indirectly at times to get the big fish. I believe it all started in 2005 when Wack 100 and his brother were pulled over and they had weapons in the car. Wack 100 is a convicted felon, so when the shit got dismissed out of thin air and the reason was in the interest of justice, it raised some eyebrows. But before the case was dismissed, he would be free on bond for over 2 years before being recorded on wiretap, informing his former business partner, Mark Stevens, that gang leader, Liddell Rawls, was under investigation for the kidnapping and beating of Robert Ross.
April 16th, 2005. Safety trooper Darren Chase was on a routine patrol on Interstate 40 in Wheeler County, Texas, when he would pull over a 2005 Cadillac for driving 77 in a 70-mile-per-hour speed zone. The driver, later identified as Cash McElroy Jones, stated that he was a truck driver and always ran about 5 miles over the limit. He also stated that he was en route to Tulsa, Oklahoma for a funeral. At some point during the traffic stop, the trooper would ask Cash Jones for permission to search his vehicle. After denying the request, K-9 units were called to the scene. During the search, troopers located a black rifle, black shotgun, a loaded black pistol, along with several clips and large amounts of ammunition for each gun. Following the recovery of the firearms from the vehicle, both Cash Jones and his passenger, who would later go on to be identified as his brother, would be arrested, with both men being charged with unlawful possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Soon after this arrest, he would be briefly placed on a Fed hold before posting a $10,000 bond. Once out of jail, Wack 100 would travel back to Los Angeles, where he would continue working with Death Row Records and Suge Knight. Only 2 years later, in January 2008, police would name Knight as one of the members of the mob Pyru Street Gang in a crackdown by authorities in the city of Compton. Despite his music industry connections and now managing Ray J and rapper The Game, Wack 100's name would be left out of the crackdown. In that same year, Cash Jones, aka Wack 100, would be caught on wiretap, informing business partner Mark Stevens that the Main Street Mafia Crip leader Liddell Rawls was under investigation for the kidnapping and beating of Robert Ross, aka Stutterbox. Liddell Rawls, who prosecutors said was the leader of the Main Street Mafia Crips gang, would be accused in a criminal complaint filed in February 2011 of directing members to kidnap, beat, and rob the victim, Robert Ross. CS2 Back would play a pivotal role in that case, both helping authorities connect the dots to Dale Dog via the wiretap phone calls and eventually helping Main Street beat their case.
Let's play Stutterbox talking to Wack.
This is what I'm trying to figure out, though, Box. Help me understand this, because me and you both know that whole case was your thing. What is Mark saying I had to do with the case, bro?
Wack, listen, in the paperwork, it said you tried to call Dog, remember?
I tried to
and he
call
wouldn't take
Dog.
your call. And I sent it to you. And he
I
said
talked
he
to
wouldn't
Dog.
but he said he didn't talk to you. He wouldn't take your call. But he said he wouldn't talk. Yeah, and Dog said he was cool. He didn't want to talk to you in the paperwork.
Mark
That's what you
tried
said
to
is going off of what.
That whole Main Street shit, that was your play. I ain't had nothing to do with it. I was a victim.
Now that we know that Wack's phone is wired, the question really is, was he aware of it? I honestly believe he was, or at least made aware after they caught him making incriminating statements. Either way, all the feds had to do was listen, because now they were tapped in with one of the biggest bloods in the world, and your boy would not disappoint his new friends. He was discussing all kind of shit over the phone. Even in the last clip, you can hear him running his mouth way too much while simultaneously distancing himself from the crimes. Robert Ross even mentions that Dog didn't want to talk to Wack 100. It's like everybody knew the line was tapped. Remember the wiretap where Wack was informing his business partner that the gang dude was under investigation? Of course you do. Well, that wiretap led to the indictments of the Main Street Mafia Crips.
Only 1 month after the indictment of the Main Street Mafia Crips, on March 9th, 2011, Cash Jones, aka Wack 100, would appear in Texas State Court to have his charges finally dismissed from that 2006 unlawful possession of a firearm case, where he was caught with multiple firearms and ammunition. The stated reason for the dismissal was not lack of evidence or a violation of Wack 100's rights, as he claims, but based on the paperwork, Wack 100's gun case was dismissed in the interest of justice.
I bet it was dismissed. Why would a convicted felon be allowed to be out on bond for over 2 years? And why aren't the feds arresting this dude when they have clear evidence of crimes being committed through wiretaps? The reason is the same reason they dismissed his felon in possession charge, in the interest of justice. You know what the feds are interested in? They're interested in convicting felons, boasting a 98% conviction rate. That measly 2% is reserved for cases like this where defendants corroborate and it benefits the feds to dismiss a case. They're going to round up far more criminals just by letting this clown talk on the phone. Anyway, big shout out to Street Certified YouTube channel for highlighting this case from over 20 years ago. Like I said before, many won't agree with this, and that's perfectly fine. But I truly believe that Wack 100 made a deal with the feds to get his case dismissed. I'm willing to bet that they just gave him a phone and told him to do his thing. Hey, Wack, just call people, just talk on the phone. That's all you got to do, and that boy would not disappoint. Even today, many people believe Wack 100 is an informant, which will all tie into my little theory about why I believe Luce Cannon is around Wack 100, publicly claiming him and his boss committed crimes. Wack 100 and Big U have been the face of the Bloods and Crips for years, with both of them trying to change the image of the gangs in the public eye. And while they may seem to be friends publicly, they both have connections to violent street gangs who hate each other. Behind closed doors, the gang wars continue. I think Wack 100 has been working with the feds to take his enemies down. With that being said, I think Wack 100 is seizing the opportunity to take down his biggest enemy by inviting Luce Cannon on the podcast to incriminate Big U. Luce Cannon is talking so goddamn much, I wouldn't be surprised if he's working with the feds too. Remember, they want the big fish, so they might be willing to let this dude incriminate himself if the goal is to convict Big U. So it's like, Wack 100 gets his biggest op out the way, Luce Cannon snitching on Big U to soften his deal, and the feds get that man. Everybody wins except Big U, which I think will ultimately get a life sentence due to the severity and nature of the crimes he's charged with.
If you take a deeper look at the indictment, you'll see that the feds mentioned Wack 100 because they have been watching his content and his interviews on social media. Wack 100 has been very vocal about his beef with Big U. As a matter of fact, every time something negative is said about Big U on the internet, Wack 100 will go out of his way to amplify it. It's unclear when their relationship went from being cordial to straight up enemies, but it doesn't look like things will change anytime soon.
So this is gonna probably be my last video. I'm gonna return myself in, be talking about I'm a fugitive. So they just raided all my houses. When they raided my houses and my property, it was asking about Wack. Wack, Luce Cannon, 600, and this internet stuff.
All right, you guys, that's a wrap for this one. Let me know what you guys think about this whole Big U situation in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the video, please consider giving it a like. And if you're new here and you enjoy the content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you guys again for watching and have a nice day.